The red cloth slips from small fingers wearing oversized yellow gloves. Ashbourne's chest rises and falls in the leather chair, eyes closed, breath shallow. The afternoon light cuts through floor-to-ceiling windows, slicing across marble floors that cost more than most people earn in a decade. His face is pale, too pale. His right hand trembles against the armrest. Zariah freezes 3 feet away, clutching the cleaning cloth she dropped. She's 9 years old, small for her age, wearing a faded purple hoodie 2 sizes too big. Her sneakers squeak against the polished floor. The sound echoes in the silence. "Mama," she whispers, urgent and low. Naomi Brooks looks up from the kitchen counter where she's polishing silver that will never be used. Her eyes widen. Terror flashes across her face, raw and immediate. "Zariah, no," Naomi hisses. "Come here, now." But Zariah doesn't move. She stares at the man in the chair. His breathing sounds wrong, uneven, like he's fighting something invisible. "Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is." Ashbourne keeps his eyes shut. He felt the child enter the room 7 minutes ago, heard the soft footsteps, smelled the cheap lavender soap on her skin. He had been sitting here, exhausted from another sleepless night, when the idea struck him like lightning. A test. For 46 years, Ashbourne has tested people, business partners, employees, investors. He's watched them through hidden cameras, listened to their private conversations, engineered scenarios to see what they'd do when they thought no one was watching. Every single person failed. Every one of them revealed their true nature. Greedy, selfish, opportunistic. He has a safe mounted on the wall behind an abstract painting. The combination is written on a sticky note on his desk, deliberately visible. He has cash, $50,000, sitting in an unlocked drawer. He has jewelry, watches, documents that could ruin careers scattered around this penthouse like breadcrumbs. And now there's a child in his home, a child he wasn't supposed to know about. His housekeeper broke the rules, brought her daughter to work. Naomi Brooks, who shows up at 6 in the morning and leaves at 8 at night, who never complains, never asks for anything, never looks him in the eye. She brought her child into his fortress. Ashbourne's lawyers would call this grounds for immediate termination. His security team would call it a breach. His business instincts call it opportunity. What will the child do when she thinks he's unconscious? Zariah takes 1 step closer, then another. "He don't look okay," she says louder now. Naomi moves fast, crossing the room in 4 strides. She grabs Zariah's shoulder, pulling her back. "Baby, we need to go, right now." "But Mama." "No buts. We're leaving." Ashbourne hears the fear in Naomi's voice. She thinks he's asleep, thinks she can get her daughter out before he wakes up, thinks she can hide this violation. He stays perfectly still, breathing slowly. His migraine pounds behind his eyes, real, not faked. The pain started 2 hours ago, sharp and brutal. He had dismissed his assistant, canceled his afternoon meetings, retreated to his penthouse to suffer alone like he always does. Then Naomi arrived, and the child. Zariah pulls against her mother's grip. His hand is shaking. He's fine. Rich people sleep like this. No, they don't. Grandma says when people sleep with their mouth open and their hand shaking, it means they're carrying something heavy. Ashbourne's fingers twitch. He can't control it. The migraine makes his muscles spasm. Zariah sees it. She stops resisting her mother's pull. "Mama, what if he's dying?" The room goes silent. Naomi's breathing quickens. Ashbourne can hear her calculating. Call 911 and draw attention to her unauthorized daughter, or drag Zariah out and risk a man dying on her watch. "He's not dying," Naomi whispers. "He's just tired. You always say that about Daddy before." "Don't." The word cuts sharp, final. Ashbourne knows nothing about Naomi's personal life. He's never asked, never cared. She's staff, invisible, a function, not a person. Zariah goes quiet, but she doesn't look away from him. Naomi tugs her daughter toward the door. "We'll finish tomorrow. Let's go." They're 5 steps from escape when Zariah stops. She yanks free from her mother's grip and runs back. Naomi gasps, "Zariah Brooks, if you don't." Zariah picks up the red cleaning cloth from the floor. She folds it carefully, corners matching perfectly. Her hands are steady. She walks to the chair where Ashbourne sits, his hand still trembling against the armrest. She doesn't touch him, doesn't shake him awake, doesn't search his pockets or look for valuables. She speaks in a voice barely louder than breath. "Mister, I'm not supposed to bother you, but my grandma says when people sleep like that, it means they're carrying something heavy inside." Ashbourne's chest tightens. This isn't what he expected. Zariah continues, "My daddy used to sleep like that. Before he didn't wake up no more." The words hang in the air like smoke. Ashbourne has orchestrated hostile takeovers worth billions. He's fired 300 employees in one afternoon without blinking. He's negotiated with senators and destroyed competitors. Nothing scares him. This child terrifies him because she isn't performing. She believes he's unconscious. She thinks no one is watching, and she's showing him something he thought didn't exist, behavior without an audience. Zariah leans forward. She hesitates. Then she gently places the folded red cloth over his trembling hand. "So you don't feel alone," she whispers. Ashbourne's mind goes blank. Naomi appears behind Zariah, face drained of color. "Baby, please, we have to go." Zariah nods. She steps back from the chair. She doesn't steal, doesn't snoop, doesn't even glance at the expensive watch on his wrist or the platinum cufflinks worth $5,000 each. She just walks away. Naomi grabs her hand and pulls her toward the door. Their footsteps fade down the hallway. Ashbourne sits in the chair, eyes still closed, the red cloth warm against his skin. He had tested everyone in his life. Executives with stock options, partners with million-dollar deals, friends with access to his accounts. Every single one of them failed. This child, this 9-year-old girl in a faded hoodie, just passed without knowing there was a test. His hand stops trembling. The migraine still screams behind his eyes, but he doesn't notice anymore. Ashbourne opens his eyes slowly. The penthouse is empty, silent. The red cloth rests on his hand like a judgment. For the first time in decades, Calder Ashbourne asks himself a question he's been avoiding his entire life. What if he's been testing the wrong people? What if the test was never for them? What happens when a man who trusts no one meets a child who expects nothing? Naomi's hands shake as she locks the supply closet. Cleaning bottles rattle on metal shelves. Zariah stands beside her mother, head down, waiting for the explosion that always comes when rules get broken. But Naomi doesn't yell. She just breathes fast and hard, like she's been running. They're in the service hallway on the 43rd floor. White walls, fluorescent lights, the smell of bleach and lemon polish. This is where staff exists, invisible, efficient, silent. Naomi turns to her daughter. Her voice comes out tight and controlled. "What did I tell you about Mr. Ashbourne?" Zariah picks at her gloves. "Don't talk to him. Don't look at him. Don't touch nothing." "And what did you do?" "He looked sick, Mama." "That's not your concern. We clean. That's it. We don't get involved." Zariah's throat feels thick. She wants to explain that the man in the chair reminded her of Daddy on that last morning. Pale, breathing wrong, hand shaking. But Mama doesn't talk about Daddy. Not anymore. Naomi pulls out her phone. Her thumb hovers over Mr. Ashbourne's assistant's number. She could report herself. Confess before he wakes up and fires her. At least then she'd control the narrative. But she has rent due in 6 days. Zariah needs new shoes. The electric bill is past due. She puts the phone away. "We're going home," Naomi says. "And you're never coming here again. Understand?" Zariah nods. They take the service elevator down. Naomi doesn't speak. Zariah watches the floor numbers descend, each one taking them further from the mistake she made. When they reach the ground floor, Naomi stops at the security desk. The guard looks up. Marcus, a black man in his 50s with kind eyes and a scar above his left eyebrow. "Leaving early, Naomi?" he asks. She forces a smile. Not feeling well. Marcus studies her face. He's worked this building for 12 years. He knows what fear looks like. Everything okay up there? Fine. Just need to get my daughter home. He glances at Zariah, then back to Naomi. He doesn't believe her, but he doesn't push. Take care. They exit onto 5th Avenue. The December cold hits like a slap. Zariah pulls her hoodie tighter. Naomi walks fast, weaving through tourists and business people. Her mind races through scenarios. Mr. Ashbourne waking up, seeing the cloth, remembering the child in his home, calling security, pressing charges, blacklisting her from every agency in Manhattan. She's worked for Calder Ashbourne for 3 years. In that time, she's learned his patterns. He wakes at 5, leaves by 6:30, returns between 7 and 9 at night. Sometimes he doesn't return at all, sleeps at his office or travels. When he's home, he moves through the penthouse like a ghost, silent, contained. He's never yelled at her, never criticized her work, never asked her name. She exists to him the way furniture exists, useful when needed, ignored otherwise. That's how she prefers it. Invisible means safe. But today, Zariah made them visible. They ride the subway to the Bronx. Zariah sits pressed against her mother's side. Naomi stares at her reflection in the dark window across from them. She sees a 34-year-old woman who looks 40, exhausted, worn down, carrying weight she can't put down. Her phone buzzes. She pulls it out, heart hammering. It's a text from her mother. "Can you pick up milk on your way home?" Not Mr. Ashbourne's assistant. Not security. Just her mother asking about milk. Naomi exhales slowly. Zariah tugs her sleeve. "Mama, I'm sorry. I know, baby. I just thought. Don't think. Not about him. Not about people like him. We do our job and we leave. That's how we survive." Zariah goes quiet. She watches the tunnel walls blur past the window. She thinks about the man in the chair, his pale face, his trembling hand, the way the sunlight cut across him like he was already fading. She thinks about Daddy, how he looked the same way before the ambulance came, before Mama stopped singing in the kitchen, before everything got quiet and heavy. Grandma says rich people don't need help because they can buy anything. But you can't buy someone to care when you're scared. The train stops at their station. They climb the stairs to street level. The neighborhood smells like fried food and car exhaust. Someone's playing music from an open window. Kids shout on a basketball court 2 blocks away. This is home. Loud. Alive. Nothing like the silent marble fortress on 5th Avenue. They walk 3 blocks to their apartment building. A 6-story brick structure with peeling paint and a broken intercom. Naomi unlocks the front door. They climb to the 3rd floor. The stairwell smells like cigarettes and old cooking oil. Naomi's mother, Calder Brooks, is in the kitchen when they walk in. She's 62, with silver hair pulled into a tight bun and reading glasses hanging from a chain around her neck. She looks up from the stove where she's stirring something that smells like onions and tomatoes. "Y'all early," Dolores says. Naomi hangs her coat. "Long day." Dolores looks at her daughter, then at Zariah. She sees what Marcus saw, fear trying to hide behind normal. "What happened?" Dolores asks. "Nothing happened." Naomi closes her eyes. Zariah talked to him. Dolores goes still. "To who?" "Mr. Ashbourne." The wooden spoon stops stirring. Dolores sets it down carefully. "He was home. He was sleeping," she thought. Naomi stops. Her voice cracks. "She thought he was dying." Dolores looks at Zariah. The child stands by the door, still wearing her too big hoodie, looking smaller than 9 years old should look. "Come here, baby," Dolores says. Zariah walks to her grandmother. Dolores cups her face with both hands. "What did you do?" "I put a cloth on his hand, so he wouldn't be alone." Dolores's eyes soften. She pulls Zariah into a hug. "Your heart's too big for this world." Naomi leans against the counter. "I could lose my job. Did he wake up?" "I don't know. We left. Then maybe he never knew." Or maybe he's calling his lawyers right now. Dolores releases Zariah and turns to her daughter. You can't live in maybe. You did your best. Zariah did what her heart told her. That's all we can do. Naomi wants to believe that, but she's learned the world doesn't reward good hearts. It rewards people who know their place and stay in it. Her phone sits on the counter. Silent. No calls. No texts. No emergency meetings. Maybe Dolores is right. Maybe he never woke up. Maybe they're safe. But Naomi knows something shifted today. She felt it the moment Zariah walked toward that chair, like a crack forming in ice, invisible at first, then spreading fast. She just doesn't know if the ice will hold or if they're all about to fall through. What does Calder Ashbourne do when he wakes up and finds the red cloth on his hand? Ashbourne sits in the leather chair for 27 minutes after they leave. The red cloth rests on his hand. He doesn't move it. The migraine fades slowly, leaving behind a dull ache and exhaustion that settles into his bones. He should get up, take medication, eat something. But he stays frozen, replaying the last 10 minutes in his mind. So you don't feel alone. The words loop like a broken record. Ashbourne has spent his entire adult life building walls. After his mother died when he was 12, he learned that people leave. After his father remarried 6 months later and forgot he had a son, he learned that people replace you. After his first business partner stole his prototype and started a competing company, he learned that people betray. So he built a fortress. Financial, emotional, physical. He surrounded himself with contracts instead of relationships, transactions instead of trust, money instead of meaning. It worked. He became untouchable, powerful, feared, and completely alone. He picks up the red cloth. It's cheap cotton, worn soft from repeated washing. It smells faintly of bleach. There's a small stain near one corner, coffee maybe, or rust. This cloth is worth nothing. But a child placed it on his hand like it was medicine. Ashbourne stands slowly. His legs feel unsteady. He walks to the window and looks down at Central Park. 43 floors below, people move like insects, jogging, walking dogs, living lives that don't intersect with his. He's hosted parties in this penthouse, business associates, potential investors, politicians. Hundreds of people drinking his wine, eating his food, pretending to be his friends. Every single one of them would have stolen from him if they thought they could get away with it. But a 9-year-old girl in a faded hoodie saw him vulnerable and offered comfort. No transaction, no expectation of reward, just a human response to suffering. Ashbourne hasn't cried since he was 14. Not when his mother died. Not when his father remarried. Not when his company went public and he made his first 100 million. He doesn't cry now, but something in his chest feels different. Cracked, exposed. He looks at his watch. 4:47 in the afternoon. Naomi usually works until 8, but she left early, terrified he'd wake up and destroy her life. He should fire her. That's what his lawyers would advise. Breach of contract, unauthorized personnel, liability risk. But he doesn't reach for his phone. Instead, he walks to his desk and opens his laptop. He pulls up Naomi Brooks's employment file. The background check his security team ran 3 years ago. Medical history, references, previous addresses. There's a section labeled family. Mother, Dolores Brooks, 62. Daughter, Zariah Brooks, 9. Husband, deceased. Ashbourne clicks on the husband's name. A death certificate appears. Tyrell Brooks, age 36. Cause of death, cardiac arrest. Date, March 14, 2023. 2 years ago, my daddy used to sleep like that. Before he didn't wake up no more. Ashbourne closes the laptop. He stands and walks to his bedroom. The space is massive, larger than most apartments. A king bed with sheets that cost $3,000. A closet the size of a studio. Art on the walls worth more than people earn in a lifetime. He looks at his reflection in the mirror. Pale skin, dark circles under his eyes, gray touching his temples. He's 46 but looks older. Success ages you in invisible ways. His phone vibrates. He checks it, his assistant, reminding him about tomorrow's board meeting. 18 executives waiting to hear his quarterly projections. Billions of dollars hanging on his decisions. He deletes the notification without responding. Ashbourne returns to the living room. The leather chair still holds the imprint of his body. The red cloth sits on the armrest where he left it. He picks it up and folds it carefully. Then he walks to his bedroom and places it in the top drawer of his nightstand, next to his mother's wedding ring, the only thing he kept after she died. He closes the drawer. His phone rings. This time it's his head of security, Raymond Chun, a former FBI agent who takes his job seriously. Ashbourne answers, "Yes, Mr. Ashbourne, I'm reviewing today's security footage. There's a flag I need to discuss." Ashbourne's jaw tightens. "What kind of flag?" "Your housekeeper brought a child into the penthouse, unauthorized, between 3:45 and 4:15 this afternoon." "I'm aware." Raymond pauses. "You are?" "Yes." "Do you want me to terminate her contract?" Ashbourne looks at the closed nightstand drawer. "No, sir. This is a clear violation." "I said no." Another pause. Raymond has worked for Ashbourne for 8 years. He's never heard his boss override a security protocol. "Understood. Should I flag it in her file?" "No. Delete the footage." "Delete it? Is there a problem with my instructions?"
"No, sir. I'll handle it immediately." Ashbourne ends the call. He sits on the edge of his bed and stares at the floor. His mind won't stop moving. He thinks about the tests he's designed over the years. The traps, the scenarios, the ways he's proven over and over that people are fundamentally selfish. But what if he's been testing under the wrong conditions? What if morality isn't about what people do when they think they're being watched, but what they do when they're certain they're not? He spent 46 years believing humans only perform goodness, that compassion is theater, that every kind act comes with a hidden price tag. A child just proved him wrong, and Calder Ashbourne doesn't know what to do with that information. He pulls out his phone again, opens Naomi's employment file, finds her address, 2847 Grand Avenue, apartment 3C, Bronx. He could visit, confront her, demand answers, but that would terrify her. She's already scared. He saw in the way she pulled her daughter toward the door. No, he needs to think this through, calculate the right approach. Ashbourne doesn't make impulsive decisions. He strategizes, plans, controls every variable. But for the first time in decades, he doesn't know what the plan should be. His phone buzzes again. Another reminder about the board meeting. Another stack of expectations waiting for him tomorrow. Ashbourne turns off his phone. He lies back on the bed, fully clothed, staring at the ceiling. The penthouse is silent. 43 floors above a city of 8 million people, surrounded by wealth that could buy anything, except what a 9-year-old girl just gave him for free. Does a man who trusts no one deserve to be trusted? Naomi doesn't sleep. She lies in bed next to Zariah, watching her daughter breathe. The apartment is quiet. Dolores is in the next room, snoring softly. The radiator clicks and hisses. Somewhere down the hall, a neighbor's television plays too loud. Naomi stares at the ceiling and waits for her phone to ring. For Mr. Ashbourne's assistant to call at midnight and tell her not to come back. For the moment, her life collapses. But the call never comes. At 5:30 in the morning, she gives up trying to sleep. She slips out of bed carefully, not waking Zariah. She showers in water that never gets fully hot. She puts on the same black pants and white blouse she wears every day. Her uniform for invisible people. Dolores is already awake, making coffee in the kitchen. She looks at her daughter. "You going?" "I have to. And if he fires you, then I'll find something else." Dolores pours 2 cups of coffee. She hands one to Naomi. "You raised a good girl." "I raised a girl who doesn't know when to stay quiet." "The world needs people who don't stay quiet." Naomi drinks the coffee even though it's too hot. It burns her throat going down. The world punishes people who don't stay quiet. Not always. Naomi wants to believe that. But she's lived 34 years in a world that taught her the opposite. When Tyrell died, The hospital sent bills she couldn't pay. When she asked her landlord for extra time on rent, he started eviction proceedings. When she applied for better jobs, no one called back. The only thing that saved her was keeping her head down, working hard, being invisible. And yesterday, Zariah made them visible. Naomi leaves the apartment at 6:15. The subway is crowded with early morning workers, janitors, construction crews, nurses finishing night shifts, people who clean the city before it wakes up, people who disappear when the sun rises. She arrives at Mr. Ashbourne's building at 6:40. Marcus is at the security desk. He looks up when she walks in. "Morning, Naomi." "Morning." He studies her face. "You sure you're okay?" "I'm fine." He doesn't believe her, but he buzzes her through anyway. Naomi takes the service elevator to the 43rd floor. Her heart hammers the entire ride up. When the doors open, she steps into the hallway and stops. What if he's waiting for her? What if he calls the police? What if? She forces herself to walk, to unlock the penthouse door, to step inside. The space is silent, empty. Mr. Ashbourne left hours ago. His pattern never changes. Up at 5, gone by 6:30. Naomi exhales slowly. She sets down her bag and pulls out her cleaning supplies. She moves through the penthouse like always, kitchen first, then the bathrooms, then the living room. She approaches the leather chair where Mr. Ashbourne sat yesterday. The chair where Zariah spoke to him, where everything changed. The red cloth is gone. Naomi's chest tightens. She looks around the room, on the coffee table, on the floor, under the chair. Nothing. He took it, which means he woke up, which means he knows. Naomi's hands shake as she dusts the bookshelves. She keeps working. What else can she do? She needs this job, needs the money, needs the stability it barely provides. She spends the next 6 hours cleaning a space that barely gets dirty. Rich people don't make messes. They live in their homes like museum exhibits, careful not to disturb the perfection. At 1 o'clock, she's wiping down the kitchen counters when her phone rings. The number on the screen makes her stomach drop. It's Mr. Ashbourne's assistant, Jennifer Park, a polished woman in her 30s who never smiles. Naomi's hand hovers over the phone. She could ignore it, pretend she didn't see, but that would only delay the inevitable. She answers. "Hello, Naomi. This is Jennifer Park calling from Mr. Ashbourne's office." Naomi closes her eyes. "Yes, Mr. Ashbourne would like to see you. Today, at his office downtown." The room tilts. "Is there a problem?" "He'll explain when you arrive." "Can you be here by 3? Naomi's throat feels tight. "Yes." "Good. I'll inform him. The address is..." "I know where it is." Jennifer hangs up without saying goodbye. Naomi sets the phone down. Her hands won't stop shaking. She walks to the bathroom and splashes cold water on her face. She stares at herself in the mirror. This is it. The end. 3 years of work erased because her daughter has a heart too big for the world. She texts her mother. "Have to go to Mr. Ashbourne's office." "Can you pick up Zariah from school?" Dolores responds immediately. "What happened?" "I don't know yet." "Want me to come with you?" "No, I'll be fine." Naomi finishes cleaning the penthouse early. She locks up and takes the elevator down. Marcus waves at her from the security desk. She doesn't wave back. She walks out onto 5th Avenue and heads downtown. Mr. Ashbourne's office is in a glass tower in the financial district. 42 floors of hedge fund managers, investment bankers, and lawyers who charge $800 an hour. Naomi has never been inside. Staff aren't supposed to enter employers' professional spaces. It blurs lines, makes invisible people too visible. She walks into the lobby. The security guard looks at her like she doesn't belong. She gives her name. He checks his computer, surprised to find her listed. He issues a visitor badge and points to the elevators. Naomi rides up to the 38th floor. The elevator is glass, showing her the city shrinking below. She feels like she's floating, disconnected from everything solid. The doors open to a reception area that smells like leather and money. Floor-to-ceiling windows, abstract art, furniture that costs more than her annual salary. Jennifer Park sits behind a sleek desk. She looks up. "Naomi Brooks?" "Yes. Mr. Ashbourne is expecting you." "Follow me." Jennifer stands and walks down a hallway. Naomi follows. Her shoes squeak on the polished floor. She feels every eye in the office tracking her movement. The cleaning woman who somehow ended up in their world. Jennifer stops at a closed door. She knocks once. "Come in," a voice says from inside. Jennifer opens the door. Naomi steps through. The office is massive. Windows on 2 walls showing the harbor and the city. A desk made of dark wood. Bookshelves filled with law books and financial reports. Everything cold, sharp, designed to intimidate. Calder Ashbourne sits behind the desk. He wears a suit that probably costs $5,000. His face is unreadable. No anger, no words, just calculation. He looks at her. "Sit down." Naomi sits in the chair across from his desk. Her heart pounds so hard she's sure he can hear it. Ashbourne folds his hands on the desk. "Your daughter was in my home yesterday." It's not a question. Naomi doesn't know how to respond. He continues. "You violated the terms of your employment contract. Une autorise de personnel. Liability risk. Grounds for immediate termination." Naomi's vision blurs. She nods. "I understand. Do you?" She looks up. "I'm sorry. It won't happen again." Ashbourne studies her for a long moment. Then he opens a drawer and pulls out a folder. He slides it across the desk. Naomi doesn't touch it. "Open it," he says. Her hands shake as she picks up the folder. Inside are documents, legal forms, numbers she doesn't understand. "What is this?" she asks. "A scholarship fund," Ashbourne says. "Full tuition, private school, healthcare, housing assistance if needed. For your daughter." Naomi stops breathing. "No conditions," he adds. "No strings, just support." The papers blur in her vision. "I don't understand. Your daughter showed me something yesterday. Something I didn't think existed." Ashbourne's voice is quiet, controlled. "She had every opportunity to take advantage of my condition. She didn't. She showed compassion without expecting anything in return. That's rare. That deserves to be protected." Naomi's throat closes. She can't speak. "You're not fired," Ashbourne says. "Your job is secure. This scholarship is separate. It's already funded. The only thing I need from you is permission to proceed." Tears spill down Naomi's cheeks. She wipes them away quickly, embarrassed. "What?" Ashbourne looks out the window. "Because someone reminded me what I forgot a long time ago." He stands. The meeting is over. Naomi stands too, clutching the folder. "Mr. Ashbourne, take the documents to your lawyer. Have them reviewed. If you decide to accept, sign and return them to Jennifer." "I don't have a lawyer." "Then I'll provide one. No cost." Naomi doesn't know what to say. Thank you feels too small. Nothing feels big enough. She walks to the door, then stops. She turns back. "She was scared you were dying," Naomi says. "That's why she did it. She thought you needed someone." Ashbourne's face doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. "Tell her I'm fine." Naomi nods and leaves. She walks through the office, past the staring assistants, into the elevator. The doors close. She's alone, and she breaks down. She sobs in the glass elevator as the city rises around her. Not from sadness, from relief, from shock, from the impossible realization that sometimes the world surprises you. Sometimes it doesn't punish you for being visible. Sometimes it sees you and decides you're worth protecting. Can a single act of kindness change everything? Or is this just the beginning of something Naomi can't yet see? 3 months pass. Winter turns to early spring. The city thaws. Trees in Central Park begin to bud. Life returns to streets that were frozen and gray. Zariah Brooks sits in a classroom that smells like new books and floor polish. She wears a navy blue uniform, pleated skirt, white blouse, cardigan with a school crest embroidered on the chest. Her hair is pulled into 2 neat braids with ribbons at the ends. The classroom has 23 students. Big windows, a smartboard, bookshelves filled with novels Zariah has never heard of. Everyone speaks quietly, like they're afraid to disturb the order. Zariah still can't believe this is real. 2 months ago, Mama came home with papers and tears streaming down her face. She sat Zariah down at the kitchen table and explained that she'd been accepted to a private school, that everything was paid for, but they didn't have to worry about tuition or books or uniforms. Zariah asked why. Mama said because someone believed in her. Zariah asked who. Mama just cried harder. Now Zariah sits in this pristine classroom, surrounded by kids who've never worn hand-me-down clothes or worried about rent. She doesn't fit. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But she's here. At 3:15, school ends. Zariah packs her bag and walks to the front entrance. Mama picks her up every day now. No more babysitter scrambles or emergency plans. Just Mama, waiting outside in the cold, smiling like she won something. Today, Mama looks different. Nervous. Excited. How was school? Mama asks as Zariah climbs into the car. They don't own this car. It's borrowed from Grandma's church friend. But it runs, and that's all that matters. Good, Zariah says. We learned about the solar system. That's wonderful, baby. They drive through Manhattan traffic. Zariah watches the buildings blur past. She thinks about the man in the leather chair. The one who looked like Daddy before Daddy stopped waking up. She hasn't seen him since that day in the penthouse. Hasn't heard his name. Doesn't know if he remembers her. But sometimes she wonders if he's okay. If his hand stopped shaking. If someone is making sure he's not alone. Mama parks near Central Park. They walk 3 blocks to a glass building that looks like it touches the clouds. Zariah has been here before. Once, when Mama had to sign papers. The lobby smelled rich. The elevators moved too fast. Everything felt like it belonged to someone else. They walk inside. The security guard recognizes them now. He smiles and waves them through. They ride the elevator to the 38th floor. Zariah's stomach flips as they rise. She holds Mama's hand tight. The doors open. Jennifer Park stands in the reception area, looking less cold than usual. She almost smiles. Naomi, Zariah, he's ready for you. They follow Jennifer down the hallway. Zariah's shoes squeak on the floor. She wants to walk quieter, but she doesn't know how. Jennifer stops at the big office door. She knocks. Come in. They enter. Mr. Ashbourne sits behind his desk. He looks the same as he did that day in the chair. Pale, tired, carrying something heavy. But his eyes are different now. Less cold, more human. He stands when they enter. Thank you for coming. Mama nods. She's dressed in her nicest clothes, a church dress and heels that pinch her feet. She looks uncomfortable, out of place. Mr. Ashbourne looks at Zariah. How's school? Zariah glances at her mother. Mama nods, giving permission to speak. It's good, Zariah says quietly. Thank you. You're welcome. Mr. Ashbourne gestures to the chairs. Please sit. They sit. Zariah keeps her hands folded in her lap like Grandma taught her. Don't fidget. Don't stare. Be respectful. Mr. Ashbourne sits across from them. He's quiet for a moment, like he's choosing his words carefully. I asked you here because I wanted to tell you something, he begins. 3 months ago, I was planning to retire. Not because I wanted to, because I didn't know what else to do. I'd spent my entire life building a company, making money, winning deals. But I was empty, tired, alone. He pauses, looks at Zariah. Then you walked into my home, and you did something I didn't expect. You showed me kindness when I was vulnerable. You didn't take advantage. You didn't perform. You just cared. Zariah's chest feels tight. She doesn't know what to say. I've been thinking about that moment every day since, Mr. Ashbourne continues. And I realized something. I've been testing people my whole life, setting traps, looking for evidence that everyone is selfish. And I found it, over and over. But I was looking in the wrong places, testing the wrong people, under the wrong conditions. He leans forward. You reminded me that goodness exists, not for reward, not for recognition, just because some people are built that way. Tears prick Zariah's eyes. She blinks them back. So, I wanted to thank you, Mr. Ashbourne says, for waking me up, for showing me what I'd forgotten, for being exactly who you are. Mama's hand finds Zariah's. She squeezes tight. Mr. Ashbourne reaches into his desk and pulls out an envelope. He slides it across to Mama. This is a letter explaining some changes I'm making. To my company, to my investments, to how I do business. I'm redirecting funds into ethical projects, employee ownership programs, community development, child welfare. It's not charity. It's correction. Fixing what I broke. Mama opens the envelope with shaking hands. She reads quickly, then looks up, stunned. This is already in motion, Mr. Ashbourne says. The board fought me. Some executives resigned. I don't care. It's the right thing to do. He stands. The meeting is ending. But Zariah doesn't stand. She looks up at him, her voice small but clear. Are you okay now? She asks. Mr. Ashbourne stops. He looks at this 9-year-old girl who saw through his armor 3 months ago, who treated him like a person instead of a billionaire. I'm better, he says honestly. Still tired, still carrying things, but less alone. Zariah smiles. Good. They leave the office, walk through the hallway, ride the elevator down, step back into the noise and chaos of the city. Mama doesn't speak until they're 3 blocks away. Then she stops on the sidewalk and pulls Zariah into a hug. You changed that man's life, Mama whispers. I just gave him a cloth, Zariah says. No, baby. You gave him something more important. You showed him he mattered. They walk to the subway together. Zariah thinks about the man in the office. The one who looked less cold now. The one who smiled when she asked if he was okay. She hopes he keeps getting better. She hopes someone makes sure he's not alone. Because everyone deserves that. Rich or poor. Powerful or invisible. Everyone deserves someone who cares. But across the city, in a boardroom filled with men who smile too easily and speak too smoothly, someone is very unhappy about Calder Ashbourne's new direction. And they're planning to do something about it. What happens when goodness threatens power? The conference room table reflects Marcus Lattimore's smile, like polished obsidian. Gentlemen, we have a problem, he says, adjusting his platinum cufflinks. And problems, as you know, present opportunities. 6 men sit around the table. Board members, senior executives, investors who've made fortunes betting on Ashbourne's ruthless instincts. They wear suits that cost more than most people's cars. Their watches tick in synchronized precision. Marcus stands at the head of the table. He's 42, Harvard educated, with the kind of charm that makes people trust him right before he destroys them. He joined Ashbourne Capital 18 months ago as Chief Strategic Officer. Now he wants more. Calder has lost his edge. Marcus continues. 3 months ago, he started redirecting funds from high-yield investments into what he calls ethical projects. Community housing, employee ownership programs, child welfare initiatives. Beautiful sentiment, terrible business. One of the board members, Gerald Hutchins, 63, gray hair, perpetual scowl, leans forward. What are the numbers? Marcus clicks a remote. A projection screen lights up behind him. Charts, graphs, red arrows pointing down. Our quarterly returns dropped 11%. Investor confidence is shaking. 2 major clients pulled their portfolios last week. At this rate, we'll lose 40% of our asset base within 6 months. The room goes quiet. These men don't care about ethics. They care about money, and money is bleeding out. What triggered this? Gerald asks. Marcus pauses for effect. A child. What?
Ashbourne's housekeeper brought her daughter to work. The girl performed some act of kindness. Now Calder thinks he's had an awakening. He's redirecting the entire company toward what he calls corrective capitalism. It's corporate suicide dressed as moral evolution. Another executive, Devin Price, 51, black, conservative, ruthless, shakes his head. Can we override him? Not while he controls 53% of voting shares. Then what do you propose? Marcus smiles wider. We make him look incompetent. We leak information about declining returns. We plant stories in financial media about his mental instability. We create enough doubt that shareholders demand his resignation. Then the board votes him out. Simple corporate warfare. Gerald nods slowly. Who leads after he's gone? Marcus doesn't answer. He doesn't need to. Everyone in the room knows. When do we start? Devin asks. Already started, Marcus says. I have a journalist at the Financial Tribune ready to publish. All he needs is confirmation from an anonymous executive source. I'll provide that tomorrow. He clicks the remote again. A photo appears on screen. Naomi Brooks and her daughter Zariah walking into Ashbourne's office building. This is the housekeeper and the child who started this mess. If we need additional pressure, we can suggest Ashbourne's judgment is compromised. Inappropriate relationships with staff. Public perception does the rest. Devon shifts uncomfortably. That's playing dirty. This is business. Dirty is the only way it works. The room falls silent. These men have destroyed competitors, manipulated markets, crushed unions. But targeting a housekeeper and her child feels different. Uglier. Gerald speaks first. Do what needs to be done, but keep us out of it. No paper trail. Understood. The meeting ends. The executives file out, avoiding eye contact with each other. They know what they just approved. They also know they'll sleep fine tonight. Marcus stays behind. He stares at the photo of Zariah Brooks, 9 years old, smiling, holding her mother's hand. He feels nothing. Not guilt, not hesitation, just calculation. This child disrupted a billion-dollar operation. She made Calder Ashbourne soft, vulnerable, human, and Marcus Lattimore built his career destroying human weakness. He picks up his phone and dials. The journalist answers on the first ring. "It's me," Marcus says. "We're moving forward. I'll send you the details tonight. Run the story Friday morning. Front page if possible." He hangs up, deletes the call from his phone, erases the photo from the projection screen. Then he leaves the conference room, whistling softly, already planning his first moves as CEO. Across the city, Zariah Brooks sits in her new classroom, learning about fractions and solar systems, unaware that powerful men just made her their target. She doesn't know that kindness in certain worlds is considered a threat, and threats must be eliminated. Can goodness survive when greed decides to fight back? The headline hits Friday morning at 6:37. Naomi sees it while scrolling her phone on the subway. The Financial Tribune homepage loads slowly, then all at once. Ashbourne Capital in freefall. CEO's judgment questioned after mysterious personal changes. Her stomach drops. She clicks the article. Her hands shake so badly she can barely hold the phone. Calder Ashbourne, the billionaire hedge fund manager known for ruthless efficiency, has shocked Wall Street with a dramatic shift in business philosophy. Sources inside Ashbourne Capital report that the CEO has redirected over $800 million from high-yield investments into what insiders call social experiments, community housing projects, employee ownership programs, and child welfare initiatives. The changes began approximately 3 months ago, following what sources describe as a personal incident involving household staff. While details remain unclear, multiple executives have expressed concern about Ashbourne's mental state and decision-making capacity. "He's not the same person," one senior executive stated on condition of anonymity. "Something happened that fundamentally altered his judgment. We're watching billions of dollars drain away because of what appears to be an emotional crisis. Quarterly returns have dropped 11%, and major clients are fleeing. Board members are reportedly considering intervention options, though Ashbourne's controlling stake makes removal difficult. Questions also arise about the appropriateness of Ashbourne's relationship with household employees, though no formal complaints have been filed. The situation remains fluid as investors demand answers." Naomi stops breathing. They mentioned her, not by name but close enough. Household staff, personal incident, inappropriate relationships. They're making it sound wrong, dirty, like something shameful happened. She closes the article and stares at her reflection in the dark subway window. She looks terrified, and she should be, because this article just painted a target on her back. Her phone buzzes. A text from her mother. "Have you seen the news?" Naomi doesn't respond. She can't. Her throat feels closed. The subway reaches her stop. She climbs the stairs to street level. The morning is cold and bright. People rush past, heading to jobs and lives that aren't collapsing. Naomi walks toward Mr. Ashbourne's building. Her legs feel disconnected from her body. She needs to know if she still has a job, if Mr. Ashbourne blames her, if everything is about to fall apart again. Marcus is waiting at the security desk when she enters the lobby. She's never met him before, but she recognizes power when she sees it. The expensive suit, the confident posture, the smile that doesn't reach his eyes. "Naomi Brooks?" he asks. She stops. "Yes, Marcus Lattimore. I'm Chief Strategic Officer at Ashbourne Capital. Do you have a moment?" It's not really a question. Naomi nods. Marcus gestures toward a small seating area near the elevators. They sit. He crosses his legs. Relaxed, comfortable, in control. "I'm sure you've seen the news," he says. Naomi doesn't respond. "This situation is unfortunate," Marcus continues. "Mr. Ashbourne made some decisions that frankly surprised everyone. Decisions that are now threatening the company's stability. And unfortunately, your name has come up in connection with those decisions." Naomi's chest tightens. "I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not saying you did, but perception matters. And right now, people are wondering what happened 3 months ago. What changed? Why a man known for cold calculation suddenly became a philanthropist. He was helping my daughter. I understand, and that's admirable. But to outsiders, it looks like something else. It looks like influence, manipulation, inappropriate relationships between employer and employee." Naomi's hands curl into fists. "That's not what happened." Marcus leans forward. His voice drops, becoming softer, more dangerous. "I believe you, but here's the reality. This story is going to grow. Journalists will dig. They'll find your address, your daughter's school, your financial records. They'll twist everything to fit whatever narrative sells papers. And you'll be destroyed in the process." Tears burn Naomi's eyes. She blinks them back. "What do you want?" "I want to help you," Marcus says smoothly. "I can make this go away. I have connections, media contacts. I can redirect the story, shift focus elsewhere. But I need something from you first." "What?" "A statement. Simple. Brief. Confirming that Mr. Ashbourne has been under significant stress, that his behavior has changed, that you're concerned about his mental state. Nothing false, just observation." Naomi stares at him. "You want me to betray him? I want you to tell the truth. He's not well. You've seen it. The insomnia, the migraines, the erratic decision-making. All I'm asking is that you confirm what everyone already knows." "And if I don't?" Marcus sits back. His smile fades. "Then the story runs its course. Journalists dig into your life. Questions about how you suddenly afforded private school for your daughter, where the money came from, whether there's more to this relationship than professional courtesy. Your life becomes public property. And trust me, Naomi, that never ends well for people like us. People like us." The words sting. He's black too, but he's nothing like her. He's power dressed in dark skin, money wearing a smile. He's everything that eats people like her alive. Naomi stands. "I'm not doing it. Think about your daughter." "I am thinking about her. And I'm not teaching her that you stab people in the back to protect yourself." Marcus stands too. The smile returns, colder now. "That's unfortunate. I really was hoping we could work together." Naomi walks away. Her legs shake. She rides the elevator to the 43rd floor and enters the penthouse. Everything looks the same. Clean, cold, empty. But nothing feels the same. The walls feel closer. The silence feels heavier. Her phone buzzes again. This time it's a number she doesn't recognize. She answers. "Hello, Ms. Brooks, this is Rachel Chun from the Financial Tribune. I'm writing a follow-up story about Calder Ashbourne and I'd love to get your perspective. Do you have a few minutes?" Naomi hangs up. The phone rings again. Different number, different journalist, same questions. She turns off her phone. She stands in the middle of the penthouse, surrounded by wealth that isn't hers, holding a job that's about to vanish, protecting a man who changed his life because her daughter showed him kindness. And the world is punishing all of them for it. What happens when doing the right thing makes you the target? Zariah notices something wrong when Mama picks her up from school. Usually Mama smiles, asks about her day, Talks about dinner plans or homework or funny things Grandma said. Today Mama just drives, silent, staring straight ahead, her jaw tight. Mama? Zariah asks. Not now, baby. They drive to the Bronx in silence, park outside their building, climb the stairs to the 3rd floor. Grandma Dolores is in the kitchen, but she's not cooking. She's sitting at the table, phone in hand, face hard. They called 4 times. Dolores says when they walk in, reporters, asking about you, about Zariah, about Mr. Ashbourne. Naomi sets down her bag. What did you tell them? Nothing. Hung up every time. But they're not stopping. One of them showed up at the building an hour ago. Marcus downstairs told him to leave, but he waited across the street for 20 minutes before giving up. Zariah looks between her mother and grandmother. What's happening? Naomi kneels down in front of her daughter, takes both her hands. Some people are upset about the help Mr. Ashbourne gave us. They're trying to make it seem like something bad, so they're asking questions, digging into our life. But we didn't do anything wrong. I know, baby, but sometimes people don't care about wrong or right. They care about winning. Zariah's throat feels tight. Did I mess everything up? Naomi pulls her into a hug. No, you did something beautiful. You were kind when someone needed it. That's never wrong. The world is just ugly sometimes. Dolores stands. She walks to the window and looks down at the street. There's a man with a camera out there, standing near the bodega. Naomi joins her at the window. Sure enough, a man in a gray jacket, holding a professional camera, pointed up at their building. He's taking pictures, Dolores says quietly, of our home. Naomi's hands curl into fists. I'm calling the police. And tell them what? He's on public property. He's not breaking any laws. Naomi pulls out her phone. She has one number she hasn't called yet. The one Jennifer Park gave her 3 months ago. For emergencies, she dials. It rings twice. Jennifer Park. This is Naomi Brooks. There are reporters outside my building, taking pictures, calling my family. I don't know what to do. Silence on the other end. Then, stay inside. Lock your doors. I'll handle it. How? Just trust me. Is Zariah safe? She's here. With me. Good. Keep her away from windows. I'll call you back in 20 minutes. Jennifer hangs up. Naomi pulls the curtains closed. She sits on the couch with Zariah pressed against her side. Dolores makes tea nobody drinks. They wait. 18 minutes later, Naomi's phone rings. It's handled, Jennifer says. The reporters are gone. Security is posted outside your building for the next 72 hours. Mr. Ashbourne's legal team is filing harassment claims against 3 news organizations. And you need to pack a bag. What? You and Zariah. Pack enough for 3 days. A car is picking you up in 15 minutes. Where are we going? Somewhere safe. Mr. Ashbourne insists. I can't just leave. Naomi. Jennifer's voice is firm. This is going to get worse before it gets better. These people will tear you apart to get to him. Right now, the best thing you can do is disappear for a few days while his lawyers work. Trust him. He's trying to protect you. Naomi looks at Zariah, at her daughter's scared eyes, at Dolores standing in the kitchen, gripping her teacup like it's the only solid thing left in the world. Okay, Naomi whispers, we'll be ready. She packs quickly, clothes for 3 days, Zariah's school books, toiletries, medicine. She moves on autopilot, not thinking, just doing. 15 minutes later, a black car pulls up outside. The driver calls Naomi's phone. She and Zariah go downstairs. Dolores hugs them both tight. You come back safe, Dolores says. We will. They get in the car. The windows are tinted. The driver doesn't speak. They pull away from the building and head toward Manhattan. Zariah watches the city blur past. Where are we going? I don't know, baby. Are we in trouble? Naomi squeezes her daughter's hand. No, we're being protected. The car drives for 30 minutes. They cross a bridge. Enter a neighborhood Naomi doesn't recognize. Tall trees, quiet streets, houses that look like museums. They pull into a driveway, a two-story house with a garden and security cameras. The driver opens the door. "You're safe here. Mr. Ashbourne's legal team will contact you tomorrow morning." They get out. The front door opens before they reach it. Calder Ashbourne stands in the doorway. He looks exhausted, older than 3 months ago, like the weight he's been carrying just doubled. "I'm sorry," he says. "This is my fault." Naomi shakes her head. "You were helping us, and now you're paying for it." Ashbourne steps aside. "Come in, please." They enter. The house is smaller than his penthouse. Warmer, more human. There are books on shelves, photos on walls, piano in the corner. "This was my mother's house," Ashbourne explains. "I kept it after she died. No one knows about it except my lawyers. You'll be safe here." Zariah looks around. She sees a photo on the mantle, a woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile. She looks like someone who gave hugs that lasted a long time. "She's pretty," Zariah says. Ashbourne looks at the photo. His expression softens. She would have liked you." He shows them to a bedroom upstairs. Clean sheets, soft pillows, a window overlooking the garden. "Rest," Ashbourne says. "I'll explain everything in the morning." He starts to leave, then stops, turns back. "Zariah," he says quietly, "thank you for being brave, for showing me something I needed to see. I know the world is punishing you for it right now, but that doesn't make it wrong. It makes the world wrong." Zariah nods. She doesn't know what to say. Ashbourne leaves. Naomi and Zariah sit on the bed together. They hear a door close downstairs. A lock turn. Silence settles like snow. "Mama," Zariah whispers. "Yes, baby? Are we going to be okay?" Naomi pulls her daughter close. "I don't know, but we're together, and that's something." Outside, in a corporate office downtown, Marcus Lattimore reads reports about Ashbourne moving his housekeeper into hiding. He smiles. "Guilty people run," he tells his assistant. "This just made everything easier." He picks up his phone and makes another call. The story is about to get much worse. Can truth survive when lies are more profitable? The board meeting starts at 9. Ashbourne sits at the head of the table. 12 board members stare at him like he's already been removed. Marcus sits 3 seats down, perfectly composed, watching everything. Gerald Hutchins opens the meeting. "Calder, we need to discuss the situation." "Which situation?" Ashbourne asks calmly. "The fact that our returns dropped because I redirected funds towards sustainable investments? Or the media attacks orchestrated by someone inside this company?" The room goes silent. Marcus doesn't move, doesn't blink. Ashbourne continues. "You think I don't know what's happening? 3 months ago, I made changes, real changes, to how this company operates, to where we invest, to what we stand for, and someone decided that was unacceptable. The shareholders," Gerald starts. "The shareholders care about money. I understand, but there are lines. And this company has been crossing them for years. I'm correcting course." Devon Price leans forward. "By destroying everything we built? By building something better? This isn't better. This is chaos. Returns are down. Clients are leaving. Your judgment is compromised." Ashbourne's eyes narrow. "My judgment is compromised? You moved your housekeeper into a safe house," Marcus says smoothly. "That doesn't look professional. It looks personal. It looks like you're protecting someone who influenced your decisions in ways that hurt this company. She's being harassed by reporters you sicked on her." "I didn't." "Don't." Ashbourne's voice cuts sharp. "I know it was you, Marcus. The leaked information, the anonymous sources, the coordinated media attack. You orchestrated all of it." Marcus smiles slightly. "That's quite an accusation." Ashbourne pulls a folder from his briefcase. He slides it across the table. "Phone records, email trails, financial transactions linking you to 3 journalists. You're good, Marcus, but not perfect. You left breadcrumbs. Marcus's smile fades. He opens the folder. His eyes scan the documents. This proves nothing, Marcus says carefully. It proves intent, corporate sabotage, breach of fiduciary duty. I have enough to destroy you. The board members shift uncomfortably. This meeting just became a courtroom. Gerald clears his throat. Calder, even if Marcus acted inappropriately, the fundamental issue remains. Your recent decisions have hurt the company. The board has a responsibility to shareholders. We need stability. And you think removing me provides stability? We think a temporary leave of absence. No. Excuse me. Ashbourne stands. You want me gone? Fine. I resign. Effective immediately. The room erupts. Board members talk over each other. Marcus watches, calculating. This isn't what he expected. But here's what happens next. Ashbourne continues, voice rising above the chaos. I retain my shares. I remain the largest shareholder. And I vote against every decision this board makes that prioritizes profit over people. You'll fight me every quarter, every vote, every decision. Or, he pauses. Or what? Gerald asks. Or you let me restructure this company the right way. Give me 6 months. If returns don't stabilize, I step down voluntarily. No fight. Clean exit. The board members exchange glances. Marcus speaks quietly. And if we refuse, then I expose everything. The offshore accounts, the tax schemes, the deals you made with foreign entities that violate 3 federal statutes. I have documentation on all of it. I've been collecting evidence for years. Insurance, I called it. Now it's leverage. Gerald's face goes pale. You wouldn't. Try me. The room falls silent. Ashbourne has them, and everyone knows it. 6 months, Gerald finally says. But Marcus stays as strategic officer, to balance your decisions. Ashbourne looks at Marcus. The younger man stares back, calm, cold, already planning his next move. Fine, Ashbourne says. But Marcus reports to me. Directly. And if I find one more leak, one more planted story, one more attack on Naomi or her daughter, I don't go to lawyers. I go to federal prosecutors. Understood. Marcus nods slowly. Understood. The meeting ends. Board members file out, avoiding eye contact. Marcus lingers, straightening his papers. You won today, Marcus says quietly. But this isn't over. No, Ashbourne agrees. It's not. But you made one mistake. What's that? You went after a 9-year-old girl. That's when you stopped being a businessman and became something else. Something I won't tolerate. Ashbourne leaves. Marcus sits alone in the conference room, surrounded by wood and leather and the trappings of power that just slipped slightly from his grip. He pulls out his phone, dials a number. It's me, Marcus says. We're moving to Plan B. He hangs up, smiles, stands. The war isn't over. It's just beginning. But this time, Marcus won't attack the company. He'll attack the girl who started it all. Can Ashbourne protect everyone he loves? Or will Marcus find the crack that breaks everything? 5 years later, the auditorium is packed. Parents crowd into folding chairs. Kids fidget backstage. The smell of floor polish and nervous energy fills the air. Zariah Brooks stands in the wings, wearing a blue dress Grandma Dolores made by hand. She's 14 now, taller, confident. She holds a piece of paper covered in her handwriting. A speech she's been working on for 3 weeks. Her middle school is holding an assembly about community leadership. Zariah was chosen to speak. She fought it at first, didn't want the attention, didn't want to be visible. But Mama convinced her. Your story matters, Mama said. Tell it. Now Zariah waits for her turn, heart hammering, palms sweating. The principal introduces her. Zariah walks onto the stage. Lights shine bright. 200 faces stare up at her. She spots Mama in the 3rd row, Grandma Dolores beside her, and in the back, wearing a simple jacket and glasses, sitting alone, Calder Ashbourne. He came, like he promised he would. Zariah steps to the microphone. Her hands shake. She takes a breath. 5 years ago, I did something that changed my life. She begins. I was 9 years old. My mom worked as a housekeeper for a man I'd never met. One day, she had to bring me to work. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I was. The audience listens, silent, attentive. I found this man sitting in a chair. He looked sick, tired, like he was carrying something too heavy to hold. And I didn't know what to do, but my grandma always taught me, when you see someone hurting, you don't look away. You show up. Zariah glances at her notes, then decides she doesn't need them. So I gave him a cloth, just a cleaning cloth, nothing special. I put it on his hand and told him he wasn't alone. That's it. That's all I did. She pauses. But that small thing started something bigger. That man, his name is Mr. Ashbourne, he changed his whole life. He stopped focusing only on money and started focusing on people. He created programs that help families like mine. He built community housing. He funded schools. He proved that people with power can choose to do good. Tears prick her eyes. She blinks them back. But here's what I learned. When you do something kind, some people will try to destroy you for it. They'll call you naive. They'll say you're being taken advantage of. They'll attack your family. They'll make you wish you stayed invisible. Her voice strengthens. And you have to decide, do you stop being kind? Or do you keep going? The auditorium is completely silent now. I chose to keep going. My mom chose to keep going. Mr. Ashbourne chose to keep going. And 5 years later, we're still here, stronger, not because kindness is easy, but because it's worth it. She looks directly at Ashbourne in the back row. Thank you, she says, for showing me that changing the world starts with seeing people, really seeing them, and caring enough to do something. The audience erupts in applause. Parents stand. Students cheer. Zariah walks off stage, shaking, crying, relieved. Mama meets her backstage, pulls her into a hug that lasts forever. I'm so proud of you, Mama whispers. Grandma Dolores joins them. That's my girl. After the assembly ends, they walk outside. The spring air smells like flowers and fresh-cut grass. Kids run past, laughing. Parents take photos. Ashbourne waits near the parking lot. He's aged in 5 years. More gray in his hair, deeper lines around his eyes. But he looks lighter somehow, less burdened. That was a good speech, he says when they approach. Thanks for coming, Zariah says. I wouldn't miss it. They stand there, housekeeper, billionaire, teenager, grandmother. For people connected by one small act of kindness that rippled outward like waves. How's the company? Naomi asks. Stable. Growing, actually. Ethical investments are finally paying off. Marcus left 2 years ago, started his own firm. Failed within 18 months. Turns out cutting corners catches up with you eventually. Good, Dolores says firmly. Ashbourne smiles. Then he looks at Zariah. I've been meaning to ask you something. What? Do you remember that day? In my penthouse? When you put the cloth on my hand. Zariah nods. What made you do it? She thinks for a moment. You looked like my dad, before he died. And I didn't help him. I was too young. Didn't know what to do. But with you, I had a second chance. So I took it. Ashbourne's eyes glisten. You gave me a second chance too, at being human, at maturing for reasons beyond money. I was dying in that chair, not physically, but in every way that counts. You saved my life. Zariah shakes her head. I just gave you a cloth. No, you gave me hope. You reminded me that goodness exists, that people can change, that it's never too late to become who you're supposed to be. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out something red. A cloth. Worn. Faded. The same one from 5 years ago. I kept it, he says quietly, as a reminder. On days when the board fights me, when investors complain, when the world tells me to go back to being ruthless, I look at this cloth. And I remember a 9-year-old girl who saw a stranger in pain and chose kindness. He hands it to Zariah. I think you should have it back. You'll need reminders too. The world will test you, tell you kindness is weakness, tell you to harden your heart. Don't listen. Stay exactly who you are. Zariah takes the cloth. She holds it like it's precious. Because it is. They talk for a few more minutes. Then Ashbourne says goodbye. He walks to his car. Not a limo, just a regular sedan. He drives away slowly. Naomi, Zariah, and Dolores walk to the subway together. The city moves around them. Millions of people living their own stories, fighting their own battles, making their own choices about who to become. You think he's really changed? Zariah asks. Naomi considers this. I think he's trying. Every single day. That's all any of us can do. What about Marcus? And people like him? There will always be people like Marcus. People who choose power over people. But there will also always be people like Mr. Ashbourne. People who wake up, who choose better, who prove that change is possible. Zariah looks at the red cloth in her hands. Do you think my dad would be proud? Naomi stops walking. She cups her daughter's face with both hands. Baby, your father would be more than proud. He'd be in awe. You became everything he hoped you'd be. Kind, brave, willing to stand up when the world tells you to sit down. They board the subway, ride home, climb the familiar stairs to their apartment. Dolores makes dinner. They eat together, talking and laughing. And somewhere across the city, Calder Ashbourne sits in his office, looking at quarterly reports that finally show growth. Ethical investments paying off, employees thriving, communities strengthened. He thinks about the leather chair where he once pretended to sleep, the test he designed, the child who passed without knowing there was a test. He thinks about how close he came to missing everything that mattered. He picks up his phone and texts Jennifer. Schedule a meeting with the education board. I want to fund 10 more scholarship programs. Focus on kids like Zariah, kids who see the world differently. Jennifer responds immediately, already on it. Ashbourne sets down his phone. He looks out at the city. Millions of lights, millions of stories, millions of chances to choose who you become. He chose, and it made all the difference. Because true character reveals itself when no one is watching. Children carry wisdom adults forget. Power tests people, but humility transforms them. And kindness without expectation is the rarest currency in a world obsessed with transactions. These are the lessons Zariah Brooks taught a billionaire who thought he knew everything. These are the lessons that changed both their lives. And these are the lessons that prove, no matter how dark the world gets, one small act of compassion can light the way forward. The envelope arrives on a Tuesday morning in late September. Zariah is 23 now, finishing her final year at Columbia University. She's studying social work and urban policy, fields that make Grandma Dolores beam with pride and make Mama cry happy tears when she thinks no one is watching.
The apartment in the Bronx is the same. Third floor, same creaky stairs, same smell of whatever Grandma's cooking. But there are differences now. New appliances Mama could finally afford, framed photos of Zariah's graduation from high school, college acceptance letters pressed under glass like treasure. Zariah sits at the kitchen table, coffee steaming beside her laptop. She's writing a thesis about economic mobility and the impact of mentorship programs. Research that matters. Work that might actually change something. The mail arrives through the slot downstairs. Mama brings it up, bills, catalogs, junk, and one cream-colored envelope with no return address. This one's for you, Mama says, handing it over. Zariah turns it over. Heavy paper. Expensive. Her name written in elegant script. She opens it carefully. Inside is a single card with embossed lettering. You are invited to the dedication of the Brooks Ashbourne Center for Youth Development. Saturday, October 15th, 2 p.m., 2847 Grand Avenue, Bronx, New York. Zariah reads it 3 times. Mama, what is this? Naomi takes the card. Her hand flies to her mouth. That's our address. What? They both move to the window. Look down at the street below. The abandoned lot across from their building. The one that's been empty for 15 years, filled with broken glass and weeds, is now cleared. Construction equipment sits idle. A chain link fence surrounds the space, and mounted on the fence is a banner. Coming soon, Brooks Ashbourne Center for Youth Development After-School Programs, Tutoring, Arts, Technology, Community Space. Zariah's phone rings. Unknown number. She answers. Hello. Zariah, this is Calder Ashbourne. I hope I'm not calling too early. She hasn't spoken to him in almost 2 years. Not because of distance, just because life happened. She went to college. He ran his company. Their paths diverged the way paths do. Mr. Ashbourne, she says, surprised. No, it's fine. I just got your invitation. Good. I wanted to tell you myself before you saw the news. I've been working on this project for 3 years. Quietly. I bought the lot across from your building. Built a community center. It opens next month. Zariah looks at Mama. Her mother's eyes are wide, disbelieving. You named it after us? Zariah asks. After you and your mother, yes. Because 14 years ago, you taught me something I needed to learn. And I've spent every year since trying to honor that lesson. This center is part of that. A place where kids like you were smart, observant, compassionate, can have resources, support, opportunity. Zariah's throat tightens. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just come to the dedication. Bring your family. I want you to see what you started. What one moment of kindness built. He pauses. Zariah, you're finishing college soon. Have you thought about what comes next? Social work. Policy. Helping families navigate systems that aren't built for them. Good. That's important work. And when you're ready, when you've gotten the experience you need, I want you to consider running this center. Making it everything you wish had existed when you were 9 years old. Zariah can't speak. Tears blur her vision. Think about it, Ashbourne says gently. No pressure, no strings, just an offer. From someone who learned that investing in people is the only thing that actually matters. He ends a call. Zariah sets down the phone. She looks at Mama, then at Grandma Dolores, who's been listening from the doorway. He built us a community center, Zariah whispers. Grandma Dolores walks over. She takes the invitation from Zariah's hands and reads it slowly. Then she looks at her granddaughter with eyes full of wisdom and age and experience. Baby girl, Dolores says softly, you were 9 years old when you put a cloth on a stranger's hand. You thought you were just being kind, but kindness is never just kindness. It's a seed, and seeds grow in ways we can't predict. Sometimes they grow into trees so big they shelter entire communities. She touches Zariah's cheek. Your daddy would be so proud of the woman you became, the woman you're still becoming. The dedication happens 3 weeks later. The neighborhood gathers. Hundreds of people, kids from the block, parents, teachers, community leaders, news cameras, city officials who suddenly care because a billionaire attached his name to something. The center is beautiful. 3 stories, bright colors, big windows, spaces designed for learning, creating, connecting, a library, computer labs, art studios, a gymnasium, rooms where kids can just be kids without judgment or pressure. Ashbourne stands at the podium. Older now, 60 years old, mostly gray but steady. Strong. 14 years ago, I was lost, he says into the microphone. I had everything money could buy and nothing that actually mattered. Then a 9-year-old girl showed me what I've forgotten, that we're all human, that we all need someone to see us, to care, to remind us we're not alone. He gestures to Zariah, standing with her family in the front row. Zariah Brooks taught me that lesson. Her mother, Naomi, embodied it every day. And her grandmother, Dolores, raised a family that understood something most people forget. Kindness isn't weakness. It's the strongest thing we have. He pauses. This center exists because of them. Because one small act of compassion 14 years ago changed the trajectory of my life. Changed how I see the world. Changed what I believe is possible. And now, I hope this center changes lives for generations to come. The crowd applauds. The ribbon is cut. Kids rush inside, exploring, laughing, claiming spaces they're finally theirs. Zariah walks through the building with Ashbourne. He shows her the classrooms, the technology, the quiet reading corners, the walls covered in murals painted by local artists. In the main hallway, there's a plaque mounted on the wall, bronze, engraved. It reads, "In honor of Zariah Brooks, who reminded us that true character is revealed when no one is watching. And in memory of Tyrell Brooks, who taught his daughter that seeing someone's pain and responding with compassion is the most important thing we can do." Zariah touches the letters of her father's name. She hasn't cried this much since his funeral, but these tears feel different, healing, full. "Thank you," she whispers. Ashbourne stands beside her. "No, thank you for being exactly who you are, for staying kind in a world that punishes kindness, for showing me that change is possible. You saved my life, Zariah, more than once, in more ways than you know." She turns to him. "I'm going to run this center. After I graduate, I want to make it everything you envisioned, everything this community needs." Ashbourne smiles. "I know you will, because you understand something most people never learn, that the point of having power isn't to hoard it. It's to give it away, to lift others up, to make sure the next generation has what we didn't." They walk outside together. The sun is setting. Golden light spills across the Bronx. Kids play basketball on the new court. Parents talk on benches. The community is alive in a way it hasn't been in years. Mama finds Zariah. They stand together, watching the neighborhood transform before their eyes. "Your daddy would love this," Mama says quietly. "I know," Zariah replies. "I feel him here, in all of it." And she does. She feels her father's hands in hers when she was small, his voice telling her to be brave. His belief that one person doing one kind thing can change the world. She was 9 years old when she learned that lesson. She's 23 now, and she's still learning it. Still choosing kindness over cynicism. Still believing that people can change. Still trusting that small acts of compassion ripple outward in ways we can't always see. 14 years ago, Zariah Brooks gave a cloth to a dying man. Today, that man gave an entire community a chance to thrive. And somewhere between those two moments, they both learned the same truth, that we're all carrying something heavy, that we all need someone to see us, that we're all one small kindness away from transformation. This is how the world changes, not through grand gestures or speeches, but through 9-year-old girls who put cloths on trembling hands, through mothers who work 6 days a week and still raise children who see people's pain, through billionaires who wake up and choose to be better, through communities that refuse to give up even when the world forgets them. This is how hope survives, one red cloth at a time. If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe so you never miss stories that inspire. Turn on notifications so these messages of hope find you when you need them most. And share your own story in the comments. When did someone's small act of kindness change your life? When did you become that person for someone else? Your words matter. Your story matters. Together, we remind each other that goodness still exists in this world. And that makes all the difference.